they get 1 minute?
1 minute.
What's that? Okay. Thank you, everybody. We are going to, no quorum. We are going to convene this meeting. We will begin with public comment. I will take a minute comment from everybody. Out of respect for you being here to make a comment, but also know that you will have another opportunity when you get to the floor. Because there is no quorum, this will then be sent to the floor for you to have another opportunity. So, with that, Mr. Herman, Ms. McAllister, and Antonia, please come up. And Mr. Wayne from Encino, you're also welcome to join us.
Yeah, you fucked up. Fucked up on Measure HHH. All of you admitted to it. And then you don't hold public comment for the record. Let me reframe that. You really fucked up. Thank you, Jennifer H. Copps, for exposing white nigger politicians who don't do their job. And you're right. There is no injunction because these stupid assholes, pencil neck politicians, don't know what the fuck to do about the homeless crisis. And so they bring us all here in a parade to make you believe that we're the ones suffering from mental health. But Cedillo will agree. We know that it's council that suffers from mental health. And Herman Jason Wesson, with those yellow fucked up teeth and bad breath of cigarette, he should go into cannabis. Maybe I can tolerate his stupid fucking ass, because an asshole like that deserves to be called a white nigger politician. Fuck you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love if we could file a class action lawsuit against the city for denying us the right to speak openly, freely, and not become traumatized, as many of us have become.
Subject matter, please.
Thank you. I'd also like to go ahead and say that I'm disappointed that ICE did not pick up a lot of these wetbacks and gangbangers. Well, housing. I'm on the streets. And ladies and gentlemen.
1, 2, 3, and 4, subject matter, please.
2, 3, 4. I still love ICE, though.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. And affordable housing, city-owned. Have we gotten a list of affordable housing that is city-owned in a good area in LA? Is there a good area anymore? We don't have good areas to live in anymore. The streets are unsafe. Housings are unsafe. Everywhere in Los Angeles is unsafe. Why have we not first restored public safety, then housing, and then deportations? We need affordable housing, but we can't do it without deporting these motherfuckers. God bless America and Donald Trump. And ICE.
This morning in the meeting, it took 4.5 hours, and you guys talking about how we don't have affordable housing, and you don't know why. Well, it's simple. You brought in all these illegal aliens. Just 6 months ago, you brought in about 100,000 the Democrats smuggled in. And that's when it went up like this. When you bring those illegals in, you don't find them on the street. You give them the affordable housing. And especially you, Cedillo, we're going to get you out of office. You got all those wetbacks down there in Westlake, and you're taking care of them. You are African-American descent. They got Africans darker than you in Mexico, and they treat them like dirt. And they're using you here to take care of them. Now, you wrote yourself in this motion that the rent control properties are getting ready to go out of regulation. They're going to be more homeless people. We're getting ready to recall the mayor. Go to www.recallthelaMayor.com. RecallthelaMayor.com. They have already almost 50,000 signatures electronically, and they're on the street. We're going to get your reins out of here.
Thank you, the Red Chief Hunt. I do echo some of the same sentiments as with the mayor. They sold us out like 4 or 5 years ago with this homeless initiative and things like that. And what I really have to say about that, we have 59,000 homeless people and about 20 vacancies as far as rent is concerned in Los Angeles City, and probably another 200 or 300,000, probably about another 200 or 300 in Palmdale and in all the counties. So we need to revise all of this all of these homes that we rebuilding and things like that, and make not even a third, but a half of them for affordable housing and things like that, and step up to the plate and things like that, and take care of our community. You know, I kind of know what they're angry about, and if I came down here for a meeting for 4 hours, I would like to at least speak my piece. Thank you. The Red Chief Hunt.
Mr. Hunt? Wayne, are you just join us?
So last night I was pulled over again by the LAPD. 2 cruisers, 4 cops, 50 yards from my driveway at 11:43 at night. As soon as I come out of that driveway, I pull my ass over. Now, this is what they're doing because I come here. This is what they do. Now, you can go online. Who sued the FBI in 2001, right? Yeah. I went through that fucking shit for 3 fucking years, man. You sue the FBI fucking federal court, right? As I found out that your friends at immigration were fucking people at citizenship. I did the whole thing. I broke the whole scandal. So I got fucked with for 3.5 fucking years, guns drawn, falling over their face. So you fuckers can keep your fucking shit and keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to be right here. I'm going to be right here. And when it comes down to it, you're going to get on your knees just like they do with Eric Garcetti and beg to suck my fucking cock. But I'm right here. I'm the biggest cocksucker ever. The biggest prick ever is right here in front of you. You're the highest paid city council. You can get 2 people to sit in these fucking chairs for $184,000 a year. Where the fuck are they? Where they are? They're hiding. They're hiding from us, right? They're fucking hiding from us. I was terrorized for 4 years after that lawsuit, all right? So I know what goddamn targeting is.
Mr. Wayne?
All right? I'm a prick with 2 arms and legs. I told you this, right?
Mr. Wayne, you know, you're always...
You see what I mean?
And that your time is up.
Yeah, my time's up. My time's been up. I'm 49 years old. I should have been dead at 26. So here I am. I'm a ghost. I'm Casper the Fun-Friendly Ghost. That's right. That's right, cop. There you go. I got pulled over again. Can I see your registration? Can I see your insurance? You know, you think you fucking around? I know what targeting is. All right? Try that sometime. Wait till those fucking feds. Wait till they unseal those indictments. Then, you know what? Once you fuck with those motherfuckers, you see what they do. They know how to retaliate. They know how to retaliate.
That concludes public comment.
For years they terrorized my ass. They took my fucking mail.
Mr. Wayne,
wiretapped
please.
my fucking phones.
Mr. Wayne,
they went
please.
into my law office. They destroyed my files. Okay? So I know what this shit is. All right?
Item 1.
I'm still here.
Item 1 is the appointment of Miss Ray Vernon. And I will... Michael, I called you. Please come up.
I have hearing problems.
That's okay.
Okay, bear with me, I have hearing problems. The Army gave me a number and letter,
No problem. Talk.
4F, for bad hearing. Now, when we voted on HHH, then the county had to measure a half-cent sales tax for homeless support services. And I've come up with a wonderful idea to take some taxpayer money that's being wasted and use it for homeless support services. It would come down from the state level to the local level. It's that Bruin football team where we just throw millions just down this black hole drain. And Westwood sure has its share of homeless people that could use homeless support services. And over there in Pasadena, where the scene of the crime, that they lose their home games at our expense, they could be splitting that money with them. I used to hear about the peace dividend of if we didn't have the military machine. Well, if we didn't pay the support on the Bruins, we could actually do some social services and show a social conscience for a sucky Bruin team that can't win a game anyway.
Thank you. Okay, move to adopt 1 through 4 with consent. So be the order. Objection, these items will be approved.
Mr. Chair,
Then let's go to, yes.
Mr. Chair, Dora Huerta with the Office of the CLA. Just to confirm, number 1, you're approving the appointment, and number 2 through 4, you're adopting the recommendations in the CAO report?
Correct?
Very good.
Okay. Now we have item number 5, which is, motion from Sadil Krikorian instructing HCID to report with a plan to use for SB2 funds under the Permanent Local Housing Allocation Plan report. Is there somebody from HCID? You want to hold your comments? We'll take public comment first. Mr. Spiegel, Caitlin Quackenbush, Luis Cabrales, Michael Menbihar. Sir.
Good afternoon. Greg Spiegel, Inner City Law Center. With regard to the opportunity that the SB2 money presents for the city of about $20 million of annual funding, we think it's a good opportunity for HCID to apply for right to counsel funding. We appreciate that the city provided $3 million, but that's really going to be insufficient to phase in a program that's going to show an impact to prevent homelessness, and that's probably the most important thing we need to do right now. So we're asking that HCID ask for an allocation of $5 million out of the 20 for right to counsel. We think it matches, it's an eligible use, and we think it can make a huge difference. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Caitlin Quackenbush. I'm with Strategic Actions for a Just Economy and the Right to Counsel Coalition. And also here to ask that $5 million of the expected $20 million of SB2 dollars be committed to tenant right to counsel here in Los Angeles. To see a difference on the street, we really need to prevent people from becoming homeless in the first place, and the best way to do that is to stabilize their current housing. And a tenant right to counsel that includes eviction prevention services, emergency rental assistance, and legal representation can do this. As Mr. Spiegel said, and we appreciate and thank this committee and City Council for taking steps to allocate $2 million, wishful thinking, in funding for the initial phase, but we really need to invest heavily to make sure this is an effective policy that has the impact that we need. For example, we know that New York City has successfully implemented RTC with an initial investment of $77 million in the first year.
New York. Sir.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Menavar. I am an organizer with the Southern California Association of Nonprofit Housing, SCANF. We do believe that most of the funds, the SB2 funds, should go to the production of affordable and supportive housing here in the city of Los Angeles. I do stand with our allies that said that some of the money should definitely go to the right to counsel. We know that 9 out of 10 people who go to eviction court end up becoming evicted, and 9 out of 10 people don't even have a representation when they do go to eviction court. So we can help shore up some of that infill of homelessness by providing some of those funds to right to counsel. Again, that being said, we do believe that most of the funds should be for the development of affordable and supportive housing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember, thank you very much. Good afternoon, staff members. Luis Cabrales, Executive Director at Inquilinos Unidos. Just to give you some background information, each year we receive approximately 1,400 people who come into our office with fake eviction notices, threats of eviction, illegal rent increases. When these tenants do not follow or do not answer these fake notices, they are at risk of getting evicted. When they receive unlawful detainers, most of these tenants are evicted from their homes because they do not have an attorney. That is why I want to join my colleagues and allies into asking you to please add $5 million of these potential $20 million from SB2 into the Right to Counsel fund. We need these funds to empower tenants, to prevent tenants from going homeless, and to defend them when they're in court. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Javier?
Good afternoon. My name is Javier Betran from Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles, and I'm here to ask HCID to use the $5 million of expected $20 million annual funding for SB2 Tenants' Right to Counsel. and it's also for the purposes of homeless prevention and the idea of having folks who otherwise wouldn't be represented to not become homeless, and the idea of making sure, like elderly clients, like I had myself a couple of weeks ago, who, if not for us representing her, she would have been homeless and seeking services, which then comes at a great cost at the city and at the county as well. And so luckily we were able to keep her housed on project-based housing. And at 78, there was no way that she was going to find housing, subsequent housing at that point. So hopefully with this funding, we can provide a more robust and more comprehensive homeless prevention, right to counsel program. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public comment. Let's hear from HCID.
Good afternoon, council member. My name is Claudia Monterrosa, and I'm with HZLA, and I'm the Director for Public Policy and Research, and I'm joined here by Sean Spears, our Assistant General Manager for the Housing Development Bureau. I'd like to do a quick overview of the program draft guidelines for the permanent local housing allocation plan. So this is part of the 15-bill housing package that was passed in 2017, and this is based on a $75 recordation transaction for sales. And that will amount to an annual allocation, permanent annual allocation of approximately $500 million a year or less. We were really happy, first of all, to have had this approved. The city and HZLA had been supporting and actively advocating for this program since 2007. So it took a long time to get here, but now we have a state permanent source of funding for affordable housing. 30% of the total funds that are collected are going to be going for 5% for the state incentive programs, 10% for farm worker housing, and 15% to the CalHFA agency. And then 70% of what it remains is going to go to both entitlement jurisdictions and non-entitlement jurisdictions. And the primary purpose of this program is to provide financial assistance to local governments for housing development projects and housing-related programs to assist in addressing the unmet housing needs of our local communities. So 70% of the money will be allocated to the different localities. 90% of that 70% is going to go to entitlement jurisdictions like the city of Los Angeles. And right now we have an estimate of $20 million that was released early in 2019. We are waiting for the final allocation sometime in the summer. We expect a NOFA to be issued sometime in September of this year, at which time we are going to have to apply and provide an allocation plan for that funding. We did review the guidelines that were issued earlier in May, and we did not submit comments as we were okay with the draft guidelines. This money is extremely flexible, but there are some eligible activities under this. So for one of the eligible activities is pre-development and acquisition and rehabilitation and preservation of multifamily residential units, rental housing that is affordable to extremely low and very low income households as well as moderate income households, affordable rental and ownership housing programs that meet the workforce housing, the workforce earning up to 120% of AMI, as well as assisting persons who are at risk of homelessness, including but not limited to providing rapid rehousing, rental assistance, emergency shelters, and new construction and preservation of permanent and transitional housing. So those are some of the options. There are other potential eligible costs, but I will have, or Sean will have a more detailed discussion in terms of our alignment with this. So one last thing I want to mention is that there is a complete coordination and connection with the housing element and meeting the regional assessment need for each of the localities. So our plan is going to have to detail how our funds match with the RENA process and with the annual progress report. And I wanted to take this opportunity to give you just an idea where we are in our housing element. Every year we have to submit an annual progress report. And as part of the 2017 housing package of bills, there were several housing element related bills that were adopted that are now law. So almost every funding source that comes from the state is tied for us, for every jurisdiction being in compliance with the housing element. We are in the middle of or in the beginning of the 7th year of our current 8-year housing element plan, and we have a RENA of about 89,000 units. And as of year 6, which is 2018, we're only meeting about 26% of the RENA for extremely low and low income housing units. And this is we're already in year 7, so we have only one more year. So we will have a huge deficit on those income categories, so that will really drive the prioritization of this money because that's what needs to be exhibited in the plan that we submit. And just for illustrative purposes, we are exceeding the above moderate production of more than 207%. And we're not doing very much on the moderate income, so we're going to really try to do something about that as well. So the last thing I want to say is that when the NOFA comes out, we will be preparing a plan, and we will submit that. And as long as we apply those guidelines and those requirements, then we should be able to have an allocation. And we intend to prioritize rental affordable housing, preservation, and homeownership assistance. The good thing about this is once this is applied, we would expect to have a full amount of a check. Once we execute the standard agreement, we don't have to wait for reimbursement of that money. It's a check in the total amount. So I would like to pass this over to Sean.
Sure. Thank you, Claudia. So again, Sean Spear from HCID. I just want to echo the points that Claudia made in terms of our severe need to try and address housing production for extremely low income as well as low income. And really that drives a lot of our goals around the linkage fee, which we went through a stakeholder process with a wide variety of industry stakeholders last year. Out of that process, there was a series of intentions to look at augmenting some of our existing programs, particularly around new construction, preservation, as well as home ownership, but also opportunities for new programs. And as Claudia sort of mentioned, these dollars come with some fair amount of flexibility similar to linkage fee. So the thought is that we may try and focus on prioritizing the usage of these dollars to augment the recommendations that came from the stakeholders for linkage. That being said, we think there is an opportunity to look at some of the unique permitted uses for these funds, which are slightly different than what linkage is. And so we think there may be opportunities for possible rental assistance or other ideas that some of which you just heard this morning from the public testimony. So I think all that to say that, we will start with the basis of what the stakeholders came up with in the linkage fee process, and there were over 100 different organizations represented through that. A total of 1,000 people that were reached out to through that program. Nevertheless, we want to make sure that we can make the most effective use of these dollars, particularly around serving extremely low-income households and possibly around homeless prevention.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Can we get a report back in 90 days? Okay. That's it.
We'll be holding that in committee pending their report back?
Yep.
Very good.
Is there any other business before the committee?
That clears the desk.
Well, then this is adjourned. Thank you. Congratulations.